When you're a mother, you've got to be prepared for anything. Sick kids in your car, a kid-backed coup to have pizza for dinner, or a call from the principal's office about a junior's behavior. And when you're a mother of 5 like Mindy Bingham, the odds of a day-changing curveball only goes up. Because of her online presence, Mindy had cameras trained on her just about every minute of the day. Good thing, too, because when the prepared-for-anything mother heard a strange sound while filming, we got to see how she saved the day in a truly unconventional way. Mindy Bingham is a homemaker and a mom of 5 children living in Utah. She's always had a kind and caring heart, but after raising 5 kids, she has truly realized how precious life is. Mindy and her family are fairly internet famous for capturing and sharing their everyday adventures on This Is How We Bingham. They have a blog, a YouTube account, Facebook profile, Instagram page, and even an online swag store. In April 2017, Mindy was filming her day as usual when she heard something odd. As Mindy was driving her son, Brexon, through suburbia in her minivan, she suddenly heard a loud, repetitive beeping noise. It wasn't her family-friendly vehicle going off, but rather it was coming from outside. She called for help. Also, if you've not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to get inspired by these animal stories every day. Now, back to the story. As soon as she got out of her car to inspect the situation, she noticed an animal scurrying away with 4 of its babies. It looked like a duck, it quacked like a duck, and it definitely was a mother duck. Mama Duck had walked over to the storm drain because, apparently, many of her children had fallen into it. This obviously was not a situation the ducks could navigate. Luckily, help was on the way. When that help arrived, they were finally able to get the grate off, but that didn't solve the problem. The ducks were still out of reach. There was only one thing left to do. Risking her Ugg boots and leggings, Mindy climbed into the drain after making sure it wasn't sewage. Being the homemaker that she is, Mindy had a tool on hand that could help her out. Whether they were sitting in the back seat of her car or something is unclear, but Mindy grabbed a pair of tongs to try to get the ducklings out. Had she possibly gone daffy? Tong efficient, Mindy rooted around in the storm drain, a look of determination on her face. If she couldn't pluck the ducks from the mud, the chances of anyone being able to do so were slim. You know what they say, one bird in the hand, or in this case, in between a pair of tongs, is better than 2 in the bush, or storm drain. Mindy was elated when she pulled 5 ducklings out of the drain and into the safety of a Tupperware bowl. This should have been cause for celebration, but because ducks tend to have at least a dozen children, and not so many had been tonged out of the drain, Mindy and others knew there were more ducks in other storm drains. Still fighting for the mother duck, the ragtag rescue team continued their mission. Meanwhile, an audience began to gather, and one of the bystanders took another quack at the duckling rescue mission. Eventually, all of the ducklings were saved and transferred from the Tupperware into a small but deep green basket. It needed no lid. The helpless young ducklings could not escape and stayed safely with their rescuers. Now get the ducks out of here. The man who came in at the tail end of rescue took over for the best part of the mission, releasing the ducks back to their mom. Along with his 2 daughters, they searched the nearby creek looking for the troubled parent. After several nerve-wracking minutes of searching, they found Mama Duck and gently let the kids into the water. The Anatade family was happy to be reunited. The mother finally had her ducks in a row again. Spotting the ducks in trouble was not a skill limited to the Bingham family, however. In Kennewick, Washington, Officer Chad McGarry was also ready to ruffle some feathers. As he was driving around on call one day, he suddenly spotted some danger. A real-life mallard and her ducklings were trying to cross a busy road to get back to their natural habitat. Officer McGarry, who had serious wildlife police training, knew how to handle out-of-control situations like this one. The cop car must have scared off this nervous mother as she suddenly flew across the busy street, abandoning her own feather and blood. The ducklings stayed safe, but scared on the sidewalk. What'll we do without Mom? With the assistance of a helpful stranger and a piece of cardboard, Officer McGarry was able to trap the ducklings, who also kept running away from him, between himself and a fence. He then picked most of them up, holding them gently in his strong hands. He passed a few of the ducklings to the kind stranger, who quickly crossed the road and set them down on the other side. However, a few had escaped the officer's grip, so he had no choice but to go back and catch them all. After a few moments, all the ducks had crossed the street and returned to the right side of the tracks, except for one. A particularly rebellious duckling, too quick to get caught, was trying to duck and cover from the police. Luckily, McGarry used his training and chased the rebel down the correct path. At the end of an invigorating 5 minutes, every single duckling had made it to the other side and was back with their mother, free to return to the pond from which they came. Officer McGarry had successfully served and protected these young little birds. To be fair, being a mother duck must be a pretty tough job. Imagine keeping an eye on your 12 children. It is good to know that there are kind people willing to take the time to help these families. There is a very good reason they're called lucky ducks. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with your friends and family. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one.